Oh. Hey, everybody. I am thrilled that you're back. Let's get it all set up so that when our friends Monique and Rochelle hop on, that we can have a really great conversation. So I have to find us. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Ha! There we are. Excellent. So I'm going to light a little bit of sage because we need it, I think. And then I'm going to pull a tarot card because we need it, I think. So we're going to pull a card. Ooh. And see which cards kind of call our name about this last talk. So Monique and I became friends. I don't even know what connected us, but hey, Kimberly. But Monique and I became friends when I first started my practice. And soon after, she moved to Alaska. And then I talked to her maybe once or twice. Oh, let's see what she has to say. Oh, hang on. Okay. Dun, dun, dun. All right. So Monique should be on any minute. Excellent. And then let's check with Rochelle. Aha. Okay. One moment. All right. So everybody's been messaged that needs to be messaged. I'm glad that, everything's okay. So now we'll just wait for everybody to show up. Ooh, I need to go back to the Facebook page. Dun, dun, dun. There we are. Okay. Now we're set up. So for today's talk with Monique and Rochelle, hypothetically, theoretically, the card we're pulling is Butterfly. Hey, Patty, nice to see you. So butterflies have a weird background with me, let's say. I used to raise them, actually. I wrote a grant and got a butterfly house for the nature center that I was running. Monique's here, yay! So I got a butterfly house for the nature center that I was running, and I didn't like them very much because they were so messy. They were so labor intensive. They required so much. So I didn't really like them. Okay, let's admit Monique. Hello! Just so you know, we're already live streaming. So we've got a couple women who are already here watching. And there we go. Hi!
I think we're set.
Huh?
I think we're set. I think I can hear you and you can hear me.
Yes. You know, I love your long hair. I always have. It's just so like Gaia, Mother Earth, which I love.
Nice.
Well, theoretically, I messaged Rochelle, so we'll see if she remembers and she's free. If she does, then she'll show up. And if she doesn't, then it's just you and me. But, so here are the topics of the day, and we have to kind of craft a conversation around it. So topic number 1 is the whole challenge, which is...
Before the topic, let me just show you. I made this dress.
You made it? How did you make it?
I made it. I knitted the top and crocheted the bottom.
Oh my God, it's beautiful. When did you get it done?
Years ago. I just dug it out because I'm like, you know what? I haven't worn that dress in forever.
So you needed something cool to wear.
Yes, I wanted to dress up for you.
I really love that. I like to dress up for these things. Doing videos all the time means that I get to dress up a lot. It's really kind of fun, actually. I get to buy shoes and new clothes. And so what was going on in your life when you made that dress?
That's a good question. I don't remember. I'd have to think about it. It was years ago, like probably a good 5 years ago. And I came across a tank top, a knitted tank top that I thought would look cool. And then I did it, and it seemed a little too body fitting. Like I wanted a loose tank top, but I'm like, oh, but if I put a skirt to it, then it'll be a dress and it'll work with the way it's body fitting. So anyway.
I like it. No, I think it's cool. And seriously, it's fun to dress up for these things. I like being female, and that's not something I had liked for a long time. And now, you know, when I started to buy shoes, my husband was kind of like, who are you? You're buying shoes. I don't understand this, you know, because I was just never into that thing. But I think the healthier I feel overall, the more I want to look at things that keep me feeling good, like looking nice or wearing something that's special or doing things that are designed just to feel good without worrying if they're, you know, productive or will get something done. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
the topic for today.
The challenge topic for the whole thing, for the whole 7 days, is bringing spirit into your home every day in 2021. So it's about bringing spirit in. Oh, and Manny's here too. Hi, Manny. So it's about bringing spirit in. And then today's topic is about the home. So it's kind of like, how are we going to bring spirit into the home every day? And the home can be inside of yourself, which is why we have you, a miraculous pediatrician, on the Zoom call. A home inside of yourself or home outside of yourself. So how, you know, over the years, you've seen a lot of reality when it comes to being a human being. You haven't been spared a lot of messiness. You've really seen that. And how have you been able to see or live or experience those really hard things and still keep a spiritual connection with something bigger than you on a regular basis? How have you worked through those problems?
Mm-hmm. That's a great question. So juicy. And you'll have to bring me back to the topic because I think it can go off in 10 different directions and they're all good.
Right. Take the one that intrigues you the most.
I would say the connection to spirit for me although it's always there, it is more clear if I bring intentionality to it. So there have been times in my life where I'm like, screw everything spiritual. I'm an atheist. There's nothing out there. And if I cut myself off in that way, then there's less spirit around. If I bring intention into how do I allow spirit to move me in my life in a positive way, then I become more vulnerable and more interested in kind of finding ways to welcome it into my life. So for years, I've had a student desk in my meditation room, which reminds me that I'm still a student, I'm still learning. And I've had little tchotchkes from throughout my life where I can sit and meditate and kind of receive. And some of that came from Al-Anon and kind of forcing myself to learn how to meditate, because that was one of the steps and I had to learn it, which I think was the first chink in the armor. But exploring it more and finding what works and resonates with my spirit has been really helpful.
Did you find a lot of pushback from the medical community? I mean, because you spent a lot of time in Western medicine. And here's an interesting factoid. So I was watching a video from the president of Noetic Sciences. She seems like a really neat person. She was getting an interview done. And so I watched her for like 2 hours. And she said 80% of the people in, let's say, the United States have a deep spiritual and or religious aspect of their lives. It's really 80% of the people. But when people go for mental, physical, and emotional health, to many people who are in our field, there's kind of this elitist attitude, as if you believe in spirit, if you believe in something bigger than you, then clearly, you do have something wrong with you. And we aren't even supposed to bring a talk about your spiritual connection or your spiritual journey or path into the doctor's office, into this conversation. How do you, I mean, because you're a very deep, connected, grounded, intuitive human being, how have you been able to sort of navigate that?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think culturally we're speaking in the United States, and there's a culture that has been influenced by a puritanical idea that there are these no-go topics, whether they're sexuality or finances or spirituality, where we're supposed to exist with one another and kind of ignore that there are these huge facets of our life that are really intriguing. And I kind of consider them like cobwebs, where they're each beautiful, but they're intricate and they're unique. And so your spiritual path is intricate and unique to Rita. And if I go in there and muck around too hard, especially while you're sick, that could be really damaging, right, to the healing path. And so I think that's why Western medicine has decided, you know what, there's this aspect to our patients that we're not going to muck around with because we're too busy right now dealing with the heart attack, right? Because in the midst of a heart attack, what I need to do are these 10 steps to increase survivability. It doesn't really matter if you're Buddhist or Jewish, right? So I'm not even going to ask those questions right now because we're dealing with this thing. And I think that that's a good idea in crisis, right? In the middle of the emergency room. It maybe is not the best idea when we are trying to influence change in someone's behaviors so that they get better health outcomes. So let's say you want to quit smoking, right? I can tell you all day long, show you pictures of dirty lungs, show you pictures of lung cancer. That might not change your behavior. We can get pretty inured to that because there's this magical thinking element that like, well, I won't be the one that gets lung cancer. But when you really want to kind of break down, for me at least, my quitting of smoking did have to become spiritual. Like I had to realize that there was a part of me that was looking for the essence of life, that warmth and comfort that you can find when you know you're in the flow. And that for me, that cigarette was a false flame. When I was stressed, it was something that could feel like I was getting closer to that spiritual core, but it was a false flame. It was just a cigarette. It was going to be gone in 5 minutes. Whatever upset me that drove me to that cigarette isn't gone. it was turning to spirituality and realizing that there was a true flame that I could build my life closer to, that then allowed me to release tobacco. So I think you're right. Western medicine does cut off from that. And for me, it's just been really recognizing how, when it's appropriate to go in, when someone has offered to talk about their spirituality, and if that makes sense. And there are times you just don't go there.
Right. You want to be sensitive to the people that you're talking to that you want to help heal.
Absolutely. And if they came in with a splinter in their finger and all they want is the splinter out, there's no reason to try and mold their spiritual outcome. They just want the splinter out.
Have you, over the course of your practice, I know you have, what things might you qualify as miraculous? You know, kind of like, wow, I really don't know how that turned out, but that turned out great. Did you have any experiences like that?
Miraculous is a hard word because I think it means different things to different people. I think in medicine, we have all kinds of examples of what someone might call miraculous, right? You can have two women with breast cancer do the exact same treatment and one survives and one doesn't. What was the difference? And a lot of times we are at a loss to find what the difference was. So is that a miracle? I don't know. One that happened, God, it was last year Halloween. There was a blood moon, a really big harvest moon on Halloween. And for the first time ever, I kid you not, I had a newborn producing breast milk. That's just, 20 years in the field of pediatrics, I have never seen that. Baby girls will sometimes get periods from the hormones of pregnancy, but I had never seen a baby produce breast milk. Now, was it miraculous? I don't know. In that particular case, mom did use marijuana in pregnancy, and marijuana is associated with gynecomastia, which is the increase of breast tissue, especially in boys that use pot. So maybe that played a role, but I thought that was pretty weird. And I use weird with a Y. W-Y-R-D. It's, I think, an old Nordic word about the thread through life, or it's kind of tied to the faith. So when I say weird, it was just one of those things that I'm like, wow, baby breast milk on a full moon, on Halloween, or on Samhain. That seems pretty miraculous.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and the more I keep myself centered, the more I'm able to notice and just be in awe of how miraculous everything is. I don't know about you, but me being in the field of body work, where people let me come to them and put my hands on them and feel around their bellies and their backs and their shoulders and their head and between their eyes. And, the fact that I'm allowed to be that close to people for such a long period of time, for hours at a time, I'll get to do this. And I've been doing this for years. It's given me so much time to sink into what a miracle life is at all. And that every time I would work with somebody, there would be a part of me that would sink deeper into, wow, how we work, how all of this works together as a dance, as a harmony with something bigger than, wow, this is astounding. The longer I'm in this stuff, the more awestruck I am, and the more healed I get, the more I feel connected to the miraculousness that's everywhere, that's all interconnected in that one big flow, almost like a Japanese tapestry where it's just like a day in the life, and you see the whole community and what they're doing in that moment. It's just, I've become really awed and awestruck and humbled by how we work. I don't know if that's happened to you. I assume it must.
Yeah, I think if you study genetics and look at what it takes to produce a baby fetus, like, it's literally thousands and millions of things that had to have gone right. You know, the heart connected to the lungs in just the right way, and the development, there's so many things that go wrong. It's amazing that we ever get it right. But it all, life has a way of working itself out. And I think even in Western medicine, it's not that we have all the answers. It's at very best, we know enough of how not to screw it up. And occasionally we know how to help it along the way.
I feel the exact same way. You know, I talk to a lot of coaches, and in the coaching industry, as in the healing industry, as I'm sure you get in the medical industry, people are very confident about what they're confident about what's right for somebody else to do, what's wrong for somebody else to do, what somebody else's path should be, what they should be doing, how they should be doing it. You know, there's a lot of opinions, and I'm pretty opinionated myself. But the one thing that I really hold true to is I don't know what somebody needs, why they need it, when they need it, how they need it, in what order they need it, who they need it from. I don't know any of that. My job is to try to help them figure out what they need, you know, to give them options and suggestions so that they can find, you know, and maybe narrow down what works for them, how to live their ideal life. But I look at people and I think, I don't know. I can't know. It's way too much for me to know. All I can do is stand here humbled and in awe while you sort it out. You know, the miracle of life and healing.
Yeah, one of my professors, one of my favorite professors used to say, don't just do something, stand there. Like the idea that standing at the bedside of a patient is going to do a lot more benefit for them than just randomly running around to figure out what test to draw or what thing to do. Like walking through the experience with the patient is going to get you a lot more information and create a lot more healing than just throwing lab tests and more things, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So I thought that was. And then the other big lesson from that same professor was the idea of the tincture of time. A lot of things, if you just give time a chance to work it out, even the roughest edges will get smoothed out to some extent with time. So some of the job is getting out of the way of the healing process. Right.
And I've ended up doing things very intuitively at this stage because I've done so much. And a lot of times I really just, as long as it's safe, you know, generally safe, I'm like, I have to follow my intuition, because it's even if it looks like tough love, you know, even if that's not the person I want to be, if I follow that thread of what is authentic for me, what's home for me, what's authentic, what's real for me, even if it goes against what I think I should do, it tends to be the best way. You know, that trust. And we were just talking with Tim, who's an artist in California, who's a friend of mine, right before you, and how he's been able to be successful while also staying vulnerable and being authentic with his feelings. And he says he just has to trust that something's flowing through him, and what's flowing through him will be, you know, accepted, or the right thing to do, or the right way to be. And I think probably you and I have both in some ways gotten to that place where we're like, I don't know why I'm doing this, but there's nothing that says this will harm you. And so let's give this a shot.
Mm-hmm. The way I look at it is, first you have to make sure something's safe. And if something is safe, then it might be worth trying. And once you're trying it, then you question, is it effective? What is the effect you're looking for? And I think one of the difference, and I'm sorry I missed Tim's talk, I would have loved to hear it. But I imagine one of the differences in the role that Tim was talking about is that creativity that he's transmitting as an artist. In my case, as a physician, I have to trust that is existing in that baby's life. And my job isn't to redirect it in any way, but to just look and see if there's a way for me to smooth it out to make it easier. I don't know if that makes any sense. So in the artist case, you're connecting to that channel and expressing it out. In my case, I'm almost trying not to get involved in it, but to just witness it, help it flow better if possible.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The idea of being
and that
outside or
probably
inside
happens to him too, where it comes and then he just has to figure out how to express it through him. And that's what it is with my career choice too. It comes and then I have to figure out, how do we support this process of expression and creativity?
Yeah.
So the overall topics were spirit every day, home, and bringing spirit into your home, including, to me, spirit inside your personal home. So what do you do to bring spirit inside of you, even though you're in Alaska and a pediatrician and you live in the middle of nowhere and you're a doctor in the pandemic?
Oh, well, the pandemic's a whole nother ball of wax. But I think for spirit in my home, I think for me, I have intentionally created a space over the years that is a meditation space. Like I told you, the children's desk with different tchotchkes throughout life. There's some reading materials if that's what I feel called to do. There's some candles or incense if that's what I'm called to do. But it's really about, it's an old proverb out of Asia, but am I willing to stand still enough in the muddy waters so that the waters can settle and I can clearly see the next step? So, and my job in life is making sure that I'm not the one flailing around making the waters muddy, right? Because I can be flapping around and make it unclear what I'm supposed to do next, or I can calmly wait for the waters to settle. And sometimes the waters are churned up out of my control, like the pandemic. And maybe what I need to be doing is hunkering down and waiting to feel what that next right step is. But if I wait long enough, the waters do clear and it's solid and it's clear what the next right step is. And as I string together the next right step multiple times over the years, even when things don't turn out, I can look back and say, you know what, I did the best I could at the time with the information I had. And so for me, it's been years of taking little baby steps in the directions of my dreams or goals and trusting that outcome will come together.
That's beautiful advice. And very, very timely for this time of confusion for everybody. Let's just stay calm, and then look for the next right step and it'll appear. Cool.
Yeah. And I think this time of year too, like bears will hibernate in the winter. And for me, this whole quarantine has been a type of hibernation of let me come back to the core and really find out, like, is my meditation space set up the way I want it to be? Is my living room set up so that, I can read a fun book just as easily as I can turn on the TV? So those little subtle changes that allow me to make better choices for myself have been helpful.
Yeah. Is there anything you'd like to add before we hop off?
I think just the idea of gentleness. I think a lot of times spiritual, inviting spirit into the house, into my home, has flourished more when I do so gently, rather than trying to cram something in, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't need all of the crystals in the world. I can just find one crystal and figure out if that's something I'm into or not.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
gently find things that work for my soul has worked well.
Right. Instead of frantically looking for things that don't fit or fit other people. So, everyone who, part of this whole process of change and transformation for everybody who's doing this challenge this week is that when we engage, when we support each other, when we love on each other, when we show what we're doing, when we're vulnerable, when we're honest about what we're feeling, and when we engage and really, show up, even if it's just to the replays, it magnifies, the changes that will happen for everybody this week. And so one of the ways we encourage women to do that is we say, hey, the women who engage the most every day will get some sort of, prize or reward. So the top 3 women every day get rewarded from anybody who comes on to speak. So we've got chocolate that's being sent. We've got, what else is it? Oh, a print from Tim. He's going to intuitively pick a print that he's created. We've got a belly buddy for digestion, and it's this great pillow that's like 2.5 pounds that you can warm up and rest on your belly. And is there anything that women who think you're super cool, it would really excite them to be a part of this community and to engage and to share? Is there anything that they could be like, you know what, I want to make sure that I really dig deep into what Monique and Rita were saying, and because I'm going to get this cool thing from Monique. Is there anything that might really excite or incentivize women to take good care of themselves on this challenge?
I think I can probably put together a little care package of a couple of crystals, or I recently came across these little quartz eggs. And I like the idea of contemplating what it is I'm incubating in my life. What it is, that idea that I'm kind of holding in a nest in a place close to me, keeping warm as it's kind of gestating and growing. And when I will bring that out into the world, and what will that look like? A lot of that's not known until it's actually gone through that hatching process. But that idea of creating an incubating space. So I can try to put together a little prize.
That is so cool. And can you include like 1 or 2 things from Alaska? They can be small. I mean, they can be like because that's just, it's something that helps us connect, to the fact that we're in a bigger world than we think we are half the time. And remember that, yes, we are this world community. How exciting is that? That's so cool. Yay. I think that's it. So are you a part of the Facebook group?
I think I just requested to join.
Oh, great. Then I'll make sure that you join. And then if you get the chance, if you could go back and look at what the women have been commenting on about, our talk today, because I'm sure they would love to get to know you even a little bit better and, and connect with you. So if you could go to your video and then just respond to women if they've got questions or comments, or, that would be really awesome. That would really encourage everybody to keep taking good care of themselves.
Yep. I will look at the thread and I will chime in. Yep.
Thank you.
I will look at the thread and chime in.
Thank you.
It's lovely to talk. Love you.
It's lovely to talk. I love you too. I'll see you later. Bye. Okay, so we've got one more thing today. It's at 8:00 tonight. It's the healing thing. It'll be right here. We did it last time for an hour long. We'll listen to brainwave meditation music that regulates our nervous system, and we commit to ourselves to heal whatever comes up in that hour. So we do that at 8 o'clock tonight. If anything came up, any judgmentalism, if you've got any pain, if you've got any not me or ego or inner child or woundedness or anxiety or depression or whatever, this is the chance we clean it up. Think about it like this, okay? I want you to set up a space that feels really good, that's got some pictures you like, some memories you like. Maybe it smells good. Maybe you've got oranges or limes. Maybe you've got some cinnamon. Maybe you've got some cloves. Maybe you change the light by putting a scarf over the light and softening it. Maybe you put on some good background music, even, underneath it. Maybe you open up some of your essential oils. Maybe you have a little snack nearby. I want you to create a space for yourself where you feel safe and where you feel good for tonight's call and for these calls during the day. And if you do that, it magnifies it. You're able to clear off and clean out the beliefs and the negative energy and the synergy. And you don't have to engage. You don't have to talk. You just need an eye mask, and headphones are good. And we'll sit together in meditation and allow these things to come up and give ourselves the permission to get it off your system. Because if you do this every day for 7 days, clear out the things around, let's say, home today that upset you, maybe something around the pandemic, maybe something around Tim, maybe something around gut health, whatever it may be, let it surface, and then we'll clear it out. We'll haven or TAT points or do the timeline thing or chant or mantra or breath work. But this is your healing moment. We're starting the year off in the right way. What you do this week, what you do tonight will positively, powerfully impact the rest of this year. That's why this is important. Just show up or listen to it later, but do it, because it's the dedicated time to heal your emotional wounds, to get rid of the stress off of your system, and for your body to integrate and work together. So if you don't do it with me, do it on your own. But I set aside an hour, and every time I have a negative thought in that hour, I clear it out. Every time I feel resistance to something, I clear it out. If I remember something they talked about today, I clear it out. And if you consistently do that over the course of an hour, you get a lot of stress off your body. You get a lot of things sorted out. And you can take pictures and insights and understandings and share them, because it's the sharing, it's the supporting of yourself and other people and being vulnerable that gives all of this even more power, even more momentum. I'm not talking out of my butt here. I'm talking because when we do this work, the changes happen. So if you have the time, if you have the energy, either on, tonight at 8 p.m. CST or on your own, I want you to set aside some time. Let everything come up. You're safe, you're comfortable, you feel good. Let it come up and clear it. Let it come up and clear it. Let yourself do that. And by the end of the 7 days, that's why we're doing this as a challenge, you're going to feel like a different person, because you're getting rid of layers that used to take you 10 years. You're getting them off your system in 60 minutes or less. You're getting them off of your system immediately. So I can't stress this enough. Take the time, 60 minutes, where all you're going to do is, if it comes up, you clear it. And you will be able to clear out decades, lifetimes worth of emotional issues, okay? So right here on the live stream, those who engage the most today will get some of our very cool prizes. And I'll see you later tonight, okay?